So man, I decided to have a little fun and games today. I brought a bottle, and it's today's mystery malt.
We'll be playing Stump the Guess.
Stump the Guess. I want to see. I want to see what you guys think about this particular malt that we have in front of us.
What's up?
What's going on, people?
I'm Brent.
I'm Fahred.
And we are
the Spirits Brothers.
+1 again.
Yes, sir.
Still sitting in today. Appreciate it too, man. Thanks, B.J.
He's sitting in the contestants' seat today.
Is that what we're doing?
We having a game today.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah, and the game is identify or at least tell us what you think of the mystery malt.
Okay.
And so anyway, so what we have in front of us is a mystery malt. And we're gonna basically go through the nose, the taste, pick up whatever notes, and then identify what our thoughts are about it. If we like it, if we don't like it, that kind of thing. Does that sound fair?
Let's do the thing, man.
All right, let's do it.
Gentlemen, here we go.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Yeah, it's got a pungent.
I think you guys have probably talked about this, but your nose has different. One picks up all the alcohol, and one picks up the spirit, and it doesn't always stay the same way. So if you go like this,
side to side,
yeah, side to side.
See, we're talking high level stuff here, people. See.
And,
we elevate what it is we do. You know?
No. All of our subscribers know, Brent, we talk about this all the time. All the time. Y'all know.
Yeah, after the show's over. It's got, when I get the nose on my dominant nostril, as we like to call it, it's much more perfuming. There's a definite perfume to the nose, much better than when I initially nosed it.
I have the initial nosing. I have had this, not necessarily a spirit, but I've had this aroma before. This kind of a funk type.
Yeah, the nose that you just do like this is very.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of what B.J. said in terms of picking up two different kind of notes, and so I think what you guys are calling a funk note, I think I'm identifying that also, except it's, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's almost like a chemical or something like that. I'm not gonna lie, BJ said before we actually started taping, acetone, and I'm not going to say that it smells like acetone, but I can understand BJ suggesting that. But the other note that I'm getting that's more in line with what you typically would have in a distilled expression is I'm picking up a pear note, just a little bit of a pear note.
If you're picking up a pear, or you pick up green apples, or then it's probably a bourbon cask. It's certainly not a sherry cask. The one thing is term is perfume, the other is whipped cat sweat.
Okay, so that's a new one. I ain't heard that one before.
Well,
whipped cat sweat.
Well, a lot of perfume comes from strange locations. And
okay.
BJ, this is a TMI, bro.
I don't really know how you know that.
But this is more processed and refined. Okay. When I get that side of my nostril, I really like the nose.
What do you guys think about just from the nose about the strength of it? This seemed like a 40% ABV, 50% cask strength? What do you guys think?
It's up there. I'm not sure if it's a cask strength or not, but it's up in ABV for sure.
For your viewers, if you haven't kind of learned this trick of the trade, if you turn it on its side and then you pull it up, look at how the legs are.
Checking legs.
Checking the legs, and if they're really narrow legs, that's a higher proof, and if they're broader, it means they're lower proof. And so just by that alone, I would say it's either cask strength or it's
Pretty high up there.
pretty high up there.
So speaking of the legs, one of the things that we have talked about as far as that's concerned is whether the legs are fast or slow, being indicative of how old the juice is. What's your thought on that?
I think the better indicator is strength rather than age. But and then you can just sort of watch it, and they evaporate pretty quickly.
Okay.
When you look at it doesn't mean that age can't play a role in it, and the more it oxidizes, the more I like the nose.
On the mystery malt taste. Let's get on some taste.
I mean some taste right.
Get on some taste.
Oh, we have to taste it.
Yeah. It's a bourbon.
It's bourbon. It's
Yeah.
it needs water.
It's brown sugar. It's sweet.
It's fruity.
It's extremely sweet.
Yeah, I think it's sweet. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I don't get the pear notes that strong.
Not nearly on the taste that you did on the nut.
No, I'm not getting the pear notes on the taste as much either, but I'm definitely getting a strong sense of kind of, it's not necessarily pear, but a kind of a fruity sweetness though to it.
Yeah, but it's not as spicy.
You said it's not?
I don't think it's that spicy. Well, now, but you keep in mind that this could be a mix of different.
Man,
There could be wine casks in here.
It's got a long finish on it. It's a lingering finish that this has.
So you know what this reminds me?
Lays on the top of your tongue.
It does have cinnamon at the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what it reminds me of, and not that I've ever even had this before, but it reminds me of a cask strength Japanese single malt. What do you guys think about that? And I'll in full disclosure, I'll tell you that it's not a Japanese
Yeah, I don't
single malt, but that's what it reminds me of.
It's
Yeah.
sweeter with a little water,
Yeah.
and it's smoother with a little water, and its finish is better with a little water. So this definitely improves with a little water. Not a lot, just a little.
It opened it up. Yeah, it did
yeah.
open it up.
It released the serpent.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Man, we're gonna steal all kind of stuff in the BJ league now. We're gonna release the serpent. We're gonna cat sweat.
Yeah, I'm
Cat sweat.
I cannot take credit for all that. I learned from the masters.
There you go.
I like it now.
This is
I like it a lot
interesting.
more than I did when I first
Did you?
tasted it.
It's better with the water.
Yeah, it is better with the water. The water, like it does with most spirits, and particularly cask strength spirits, the water tends to open it up and allow it to find kind of a sweet spot. All right, so we've done our nose and our taste. You guys have any additional thoughts before we do the big reveal about what it might be?
Let's bring it out, man. See what
You got any thoughts, BJ?
No.
Okay, this is Barrell American Vatted Malt, cask strength.
Which means that it's more than vatted means that it's obviously more than, it's probably all single malt, but it's got several different casks in it.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually done the research on it, and it has 6 different single malts, all from
Yeah.
American
Okay.
Bourbon casks?
producers. Yes, all of these producers produce bourbon. In terms of whether they came out of bourbon casks, that would be my belief. I don't recall any of them saying that they matured this juice in sherry or some
Can I
other
see that?
sort of wine cask.
Thank you, sir.
but it is vatted, meaning more than one single malt. But none of it is from Scotland. It's all from America.
Yeah, 58.75.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's cask strength for sure. It's
And I'll say this, I mean, we've done some reviews on some barrels before, and I like, and I've had 4 or 5, and I've yet to have one that I have not liked.
So, from my standpoint, I mean, I'm a single malt Scotch guy, but we do reviews on single malt Scotch. We do reviews on bourbons, and we do reviews on ryes. And during the course of us doing our reviews of bourbons and ryes, it's been within the last couple of years that I've come across this Barrell brand producer, and I've had 5 or 6 of their different expressions. Most of them have been bourbon based or bourbon, and I haven't had one that I consider to be anything short of very good to outstanding. For my money, based on my limited exposure to that particular world, Barrell is probably the best of the craft bourbon distillers in the country. But again, I'm more of a single malt Scotch guy, and so my attraction to buying this bottle was when it said vatted malt. I says, well, this might be a combination of my favorite craft distiller trying their hand at a single malt style expression, and I like it. Now I don't know about you guys, but that's the reason why, obviously, the sharing is the caring, and so I wanted to share with you guys, see what you guys thought about it, and if you guys thought that it would be something that that if you had it on the shelf, if you could be enjoying it on a regular basis.
one of the things that is interesting about American whiskey is not always, but usually, because of federal law, you can only use a cask once. So these are all first fill casks, virgin casks, oak casks. Number 2, it says on the label from 1.5 to 4 years in age. So you don't, if you have a virgin cask, it doesn't need to sit there in the cask for a real long time to get all the tannins and the other things out of the oak. And clearly that's one of the things that you pick up here. So you could have a bourbon like whiskey here that's 51% corn and then aged in wheat or rye or more corn or barley or whatever it might be. You might have others that aren't 51% corn because it's not a bourbon. And my guess is this company experimented a lot with different kinds of casks, and what they did is they blended those single malts together and got a product that they were happy with. And it's good. I mean, the longer it set out and oxidized a little bit, the more it's got a viscous feel to it. It's a bit heavier. The nose is still confusing to me, but that's all right. But it's got a nice finish, and they are, what you find about American whiskeys, because there's so many micro distilleries, you can get some really good stuff and some really bad stuff.
The gambit goes around, that's for sure.
It does, and so there's certain distilleries like Bacones and the others that we have 3 micro distilleries in Omaha, at least 3 micro distilleries in Omaha, and it's all about the wood. It's all about, if they're taking and using X bourbon or X wine casks and they're putting their liquid in it, it could be a crapshoot, because if you get a virgin oak cask, you're going to get the same kind of profile on it. If you're using other kinds of casks, you don't know. But this is, I like it. It's nice.
One of the things that I'm noticing the more I sip this is that, and Brent said this in the beginning, and I didn't notice it in the beginning as much, but he said early on, he said, this is bourbon. And I didn't get that initially, because to me, it really did note like a single malt Scotch. it did. It noted like a single malt Scotch to me, or really kind of like a Japanese cask strength Scotch style expression. But the more you drink it, the bourbon note becomes more prominent. It definitely becomes more prominent to me the more I drink it and stuff.
And with a little bit of water in it, it
Yeah.
really opens it up. And
Yeah.
brings
It
out
does.
bourbon
The water-
notes and stuff. I think the
water's
water just
critical.
is
Yeah.
critical to bring it out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
getting those notes. And it got sweeter. The brown sugars came out.
Yeah.
The oak come out and everything, and it just made me. It's bourbon. But here again, that's that viscous kind of musty taste on the front. It does screw you up when you first put it up to your mouth and your nose.
Well, so I didn't pick it up so much on the taste,
Yeah.
but I definitely noticed what you guys were talking about when I nosed it.
Yeah.
though. You know, BJ said acetone, you said funk.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have used either one of those particular terms to initially describe it, but I knew exactly what you guys were talking
It's
about.
something there.
I knew what you guys were
How
talking
you
about.
describe it is what
Yeah.
you do. but
Yeah, yeah.
It's something different that's there.
With oxidization and water, that nose changed.
Yes, it does.
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's all right.
No, I was just gonna
You
say.
are sorry, but that's okay.
No, I'm just gonna say, but I still pick up the pear on the nose. I don't really pick it up on the taste, but I do. I pick up a little bit of pear on the nose. Though.
I get a lot of honey too.
Yeah, it's
And I get the burnt sugar,
It's
the maple
super-
syrup,
it's super sweet. It's-
you know.
those
all of
normal
those
bourbon
things.
stuff really
All-
starts to come
yeah,
up to the
yeah.
forefront.
It'd be interesting to know what kind of mix. If they're doing 1.5 to 4, that means there's a really young whiskey in here. And then they have for bourbon tending toward older whiskey, because bourbon that's more than 3 years old is actually beginning to mature. You can find older bourbons, but the problem is the cask overwhelm the whiskey.
In most cases. Yeah.
And so this one is a nice balance of different things.
So just so you guys know, I picked this up the weekend of the hide and seek dinner in Chicago at Benny's. It was right about $90 a
Wow,
bottle.
man, you've been hitting that pretty
Yeah.
good.
Most of Barrell's expressions are in the $90
That was a month
range.
ago, bro.
You know.
That was a month ago. Come on. You know, he actually makes a good point. I should have more than that in there, but that short a period of time.
But it's good. It's a good drink. I mean, I would drink it again.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
I don't have a lot of bourbons and I don't have a lot of American whiskeys. That doesn't mean I don't like them. It's just that that's not where
Not
my
your
center,
thing, huh?
that's not my
Yeah.
center of focus. But bourbons can be complex, and it's because of the grain bill on those whiskeys, because it has to be 51% corn. But after that, you know,
It's wide open.
wide open, and then the fact that it's a virgin cask, oak cask, makes a big difference. And I don't know if it really gets that much more sophisticated on it, but you get a pretty wide range of bourbons as well. And I like makers, and I like bookers, and I like Blanchards, and I like different kinds of bourbons. It's just I don't find bourbons in the range and diversity as great as single malt Scotch.
I agree with that.
And so because they're working with virgin casks, and because they're working with a pretty strict formula, at least in the corn, but it's flavorful. You're going to get more vanillas, you're going to get more tannins, you're going to get pears,
Yeah.
you're going to get green apples, you're going to get vanilla, you're going to get those honey, you're going to get those flavors in bourbons. And how could you not like that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, Brent, I thought it would be really good to have a tried and true single malt Scotch drinker
Yeah.
sample and without knowing exactly what it was, to try an American vatted single malt.
Well.
And so, BJ, I
Well,
appreciate you being a guinea pig for us today,
Yeah,
bro.
we'll have to continue this stump the guest thing, man.
I suggest you stump each other. That would be really good.
This might be a new segment we got going here.
I will say real quickly. So, and I told these guys, one of the leading importers and whiskey files in the country sent me a sample of 7 different single malt. Well, they weren't even single malt. Separate 7 different whiskeys. And he said, I've been asked by a company, he wouldn't tell me the company, to know what they think of these whiskeys. Nose, feel, taste, the whole bit. And so I gave half to Brenda and my daughter and half to me, and we sat down together. We didn't know what the whiskeys were. And so we nosed them and sampled them, and that can be a real humbling experience, because you can pick a whiskey, oh, this has got, you know, licorice, and this has got this and that, and you find out it's, you know, a 10-year-old blend. You know?
Yeah.
Luckily, there were 3 or 4 blends in this group, and there were 3 or 4 single malts. And we had to rank them from 1 to 7. And at least I felt good that the single malts, by and large, ended up at the top of the list in terms of our nosing and tasting, which told me, okay, my palate's not great and my nose isn't terrific, but I could at least distinguish between what I considered uncomplex.
You're in line with what you feel in your thought process.
That's right. And the only one that ranked, when we got the list of what they were, the only one that ranked fairly high with, interestingly, of the blends was Johnny Walker Black. And the other ones, you could tell they were not complex. They were, you know, so you're not getting single malt whiskey. You're not getting single distillery whiskey. So if you can't, you know, that's a really good test, is to take a set of blends and a set of single malts and lay them out roughly the same age, 10 years old or there, and then say, can you distinguish that? And it's a pretty humbling experience.
It is.
When you find out, boy, you didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, we call that in the Spirits Brothers world a challenge. A challenge.
A humbling.
Yeah. It's like, let's make a fool of ourselves and for the whole world to be able to see.
Well, thanks for inviting me, guys.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming, bro. Thank you so much.
Smash us up, hit the like button, subscribe,
comment.
You know, leave some comments. Catch you next time. We out.
We're out.